Imagine this. As Canadians battle raging wildfires, Republicans across the border are demanding action. But here's where it gets controversial. Their focus is not on climate change, but on blaming Canada for the smoke choking American states. Let's dive into this messy situation. Republican lawmakers in the U.S. have been firing off strongly worded statements and letters, their voices dripping with outrage. They claim that Canada has fallen short in containing the wildfires and the smoke that has been polluting the air in several American states this summer. Instead of enjoying family vacations at Michigan's beautiful lakes and campgrounds, for the third summer in a row, Michiganders are forced to breathe hazardous air as a result of Canada's failure to prevent and control wildfires, stated the state's GOP congressional delegation last week. This sentiment echoes similar complaints from Republicans in Iowa, New York, North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. These lawmakers are pushing for more forest thinning, prescribed burns, and other preventive measures to stop fires from starting. They've even hinted that the U.S. might use this issue in tariff talks with Canada, warning that the smoke is straining relations between the two countries. But here's the part most people miss. They're conveniently ignoring the elephant in the room: climate change. Climate scientists are shaking their heads at this glaring omission. The U.S. contributes a significant amount of heat-trapping gases from burning fossil fuels like coal and gas, which lead to more intense heat waves and droughts. These conditions, in turn, set the stage for more destructive wildfires. If anything, Canada should be blaming the U.S. for their increased fires, said Jennifer Francis, a climate scientist at the Woodwell Climate Research Center in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Meanwhile, in Arizona, the wildfire that devastated the Grand Canyon Lodge a month ago is only about 50% contained. It has scorched more than 225 square miles and added its own smoky haze to the western U.S. On Tuesday, the Canadian government announced almost $46 million in funding for wildfire prevention and risk assessment research projects. But Corey Hogan, parliamentary secretary to the Federal Energy and Natural Resources Minister, emphasized the need for international cooperation. "There's no people that want to do more about wildfires than Canadians," Hogan said, "but I think this also underlines the international challenges that are brought on by climate change. We need to globally tackle this problem." Canada has been fighting wildfires at unprecedented rates since 2023, with this year being the second worst on record. As of Thursday, more than 700 wildfires were burning across the country, two-thirds of them out of control. Over 28,000 square miles have been burned in 4,400 wildfires so far this year, almost 5 times the surface area burned in the U.S. this year. Most wildfires are started by people, either on purpose or by mistake, though lightning is often the culprit in Canada's vast remote areas. Ken McMullen, president of the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs, has no interest in debating the role of climate change, but the data speaks for itself. Sloughs and basins have dried up, and water levels in Canada's lake communities have dropped dramatically. People can make up their own mind as to why that is, he said, but something clearly has changed. Denying climate change has become a political stance for many Republicans. President Donald Trump has called climate change a hoax, and his administration has worked to dismantle and defund federal climate science and data collection. He's proposed revoking the scientific finding that carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases endanger public health and welfare, declared a national energy emergency to expedite fossil fuel development, canceled grants for renewable energy projects, and ordered the U.S. to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement. Minnesota State Representative Elliot Engen, a Republican, believes in climate change, but thinks now is not the time to discuss it. "That's not an immediate fix for my constituents. That sounds like a blame game without a solution being presented," he said. Democratic Representative Chellie Pingree of Maine faulted Republicans for failing to address the crisis head-on by acting on climate change. Rather than accept this reality and work together to find proactive, common-sense solutions for preventing and mitigating these fires, Republicans are burying their heads in the sand, she said. Wisconsin Rep. Gwen Moore, a Democrat, criticized her Republican colleague's letter to Canada's U.S. ambassador, saying those who are in denial about climate change shouldn't be writing letters prescribing people's actions to try to contain it. Battling these fires isn't as simple as it seems. Canada is the world's second largest nation, and fires often occur in remote areas where the best course of action might be to let them burn. Prescribed burns to clear underbrush are used in some areas, but they're not practical or possible everywhere. McMullen has advocated for a Canadian Forest Fire Coordination Agency to help deploy firefighters and equipment where they're needed. But as for stopping worsening fires, I don't think there's much they can do, said University of Michigan climate scientist Jonathan Overpeck. He noted that hotter temperatures are melting permafrost in northern Canada, drying out the vast boreal forests and making them more likely to burn. Instead, the two countries should collaborate on climate change solutions. Because our smoke is their smoke is ours, Overpeck said. As long as this trend of warming and drying continues, we're going to get a worsening problem. The good news is, we know what the cause is, we can stop it from getting worse. So, what do you think? Should the U.S. be focusing more on its own contributions to climate change, or is Canada truly to blame for the smoke choking American states? Let the debate begin.